The Main Street Cafe recently celebrated its 40th anniversary. We spoke with owner Randy Scott, who gave us some history and shared some fond memories from the past 40 years.
All right, so the story behind Main Street Cafe. So in 1987, in 1984, I purchased a business from Bumpy. He didn't have a lease. The landlord at the time, Sam Cunin, didn't want to give me a lease. And so he said, I didn't give your father-in-law a lease. I'm not giving you one. Here I have this brand new business that I owe a bunch of money on, and I don't have a lease. This place was available. I came down and saw Mr. Golden, and we came to terms on that. This place was totally empty. We built everything from scratch. And that was 87. We kept the name Bumpy's. We were Bumpy's Restaurant and Ice Cream. We did full service ice cream bar, very similar to what a Friendly's does and all of that. The place didn't look anything like it does now. This, where I'm standing, this was the service area, and the booths were here. In the wall where the booths are, that was the walkway. So it was built entirely different. Very convenient for the servers, except it was a very, very long walk for them. Fast forward to probably 2002, 2003. Place needed some work. After a while, you have to throw some money back into your business. And we decided to shorten up the distance for the servers and take a little mileage off of them because they were all getting emaciated. We were just like giving them like 42 miles a day to work on. But it was cheaper than a gym membership, so I guess that's okay. So we did that, and one of the plumbers that was coming up to give us a quote, I called him, and we set up a time for him to come, and he says, can I have directions to the restaurant? I said, sure. So I gave him directions to get here, and I said, so where are you coming from? He said, well, I live in town, and he lived down the east end of Marlborough. And I said, that's interesting. I says, now, do you ever see my advertisements or my coupons that go out? He says, oh, I see them all the time. I says, and you don't know where Bumpy's is? He says, no. He says, it's just a name I see, and I never know. And I hung up the phone, and I said to my wife, we're changing the name of the restaurant. There's a fellow that's been living in Marlborough for 8 years, sees all of our ads, all of our printed stuff, and doesn't know where we are, so we're changing the name. It's always been a kind of a family-oriented business. Breakfast and lunch. We tried evenings for a while. That wasn't quite as successful for us. But breakfast and lunch, it's been there. It's been there right along. And we just have generations of people that have been coming in. I have one family that, the women in the family in particular, keep coming in. They eat turkey, gravy, French fries. 5 generations sat here one day and had turkey, gravy, and French fries all together. So that's, one of the big bases for what we do.
The menu at Main Street Cafe has evolved through the years. There are many items on today's menu that were not there on the original one.
The menu is my bugaboo. When I first started working for Bumpy and when I first opened up there and ran it until I came to this location, the menu was very, very simple. It was bacon and eggs, ham and eggs, sausage and eggs, pancakes, French toast, 2 or 3 different omelets. Lunchtime had a variety of sandwiches, hamburgers, hot dogs. All of our orders were put in verbally. The server would go to that table. She would take your order. I'd like a coffee, 2 eggs scrambled with bacon, wheat toast. By the time she had your coffee poured, I had your breakfast half done because she yelled that order out as she was leaving the table. There was no time to write it down, no time lost for me reading it. It was just as you ordered it, and she pretty much repeated it at the table or walked away. And if there were 4 people at the table, they would yell out 4 orders, and we would start them right away. So there was no lag in time, so you could really get food out very, very quickly. The menu was much simpler, so you didn't have to remember as much, which made that type of a system workable. And because it was simpler, you could just do like 10 orders of bacon and eggs all at once. Whereas today, you've got, the spinach and egg white omelet and those kind of things. Very hands-oriented. A lot of time reading the slips to make sure that, all the details are there. We try to get everything right the first time. Wish I could say we did it all the time, but nobody does.
The restaurant has also served as a stop on the campaign trail for many politicians, including presidential hopeful John Kerry back in 2004.
We got a phone call from the Kerry campaign saying the senator would like to come and do not a promotion, but an event, and he's going to bring in 45 or so veterans and feed them breakfast on a Saturday, and then he's going to come and make an appearance, and we're going to take some photos and so on and so forth. At just after 11, big bus pulled up, 45 veterans got out, They all sat down at the tables. We had, you know, Senator Kerry's handlers. We had Secret Service people. We had press, and we had a lot of media people within the campaign. A lot of people taking pictures and video within the campaign. In the meantime, we were open for regular business too. And a while later, the senator showed up. He was at another event earlier, and they told me he would be coming later, but his veterans were eating. And while he was here, one of our regular customers, a local guy, John Noble, who used to own Con Cannons down the street, a wonderful businessman, was on board of directors in town. He was sitting here. John was a veteran from World War II. He was a tank commander. He was a Purple Heart. So I told one of the handlers for the center, I says, that gentleman over there in the corner and his wife, I says, he's a veteran, and like yourself, he's earned the Purple Heart also. John Noble, being the staunch Republican that he was and the gentleman that he was, Senator Kerry went over and introduced himself and thanked him for his service, and John Noble returned the compliment and said, well, you know, thank you for your service too. I understand, you know, we're both Purple Hearts. And he says, you know, I really want to thank you for your service to your country. And he says, just so you know, I don't agree with any of your politics. And off they went, and that was it. And it was just a very interesting little side thing to happen. I didn't expect it. I just thought it was going to be, you know, thanks for your service. And, you know, there weren't too many World War II veterans left at that time.
We asked Randy what he attributes all of his success to.
It's not me. I'm going to tell you right now, 40 years is not me. The only thing about me that lasted 40 years was the perseverance. You know, I'm a marathoner, a triathlete, Ironman triathlete. I'm the guy that like digs his heels in, and if this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to do it. But without a huge amount of good staff throughout the years. I mean, it's the staff that makes you. We train them, we say, this is what we would like you to do. But once you're done, you're the customer. They have to do as best they can with the tools that we've given them and their personality. And we've just had some great people that get along really, really well with customers. You know, I have one woman that's been with me for 30 years. She just keeps going at it. She knows every customer. She knows every customer's relative. And people come for that. And they're comfortable. They don't come for it, but they're comfortable with it.
What does the future hold in store for this Main Street restaurant?
The future is short. The future is short. I just turned 70. My wife's retired. You know, it's time to, at some point, serve that last bacon, egg breakfast and start sitting down and eating somebody else's, I guess. Won't be a rocking chair, though. No. I can't imagine you in a rocking chair. No, it'll be road races, mountain bike, scuba diving. It'll be something, but it won't be a rocking chair.
The Main Street Cafe is open from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 7 to noon on Sundays.